Hi guys, welcome to the Mindful Homeschooler. If you're new here, my name is Nicole, and on this channel, I document my journey homeschooling my daughter who's currently in 6th grade and my son who's 5 doing pre-K work. All right guys, I'm actually really excited for this video. In this video, I'm going to go over how I am planning for high school as a homeschooling family. I'm also going to talk to you about some of the curriculum that I'm looking at using for high school. All right guys, so since December was a pretty light homeschooling month for us, we're just doing a few units and some math, and I'll actually link the video below if you're interested in what we're doing for December. That really opened up a lot of time and space for me to be able to start planning for the future. I really wish I had done this a year or two before, but better late than never. So the first thing that I did is I went to go look at what my homeschooling requirements were for my state. Now, I live in the state of Idaho, and I virtually have almost no requirements. If you are enrolled in public school, you need to let them know that you're going to be homeschooling. You only have to do that once. There is no testing. There's no requirements. In fact, myself as the parent is the one that's going to be issuing her high school diploma. So then I went to look at what public school requirements are to graduate high school in the state of Idaho. So what I found there is your traditional 4 years of language arts, a semester of speech. As for science, you have 2 years of physics, chemistry, earth and space, and biology. It did not specify labs, but I'm assuming that's going to be your 2 years of lab science. And then 1 year of additional science, and they added on a bunch of different classes, horticulture, engineering, computers, that sort of stuff. So essentially 2 years of lab science, 1 of non-lab. So that was easy enough. Then for math, they want you to have a year of algebra 1, a year of geometry, and then a year where you're either continuing past geometry or you can do like business math, consumer math, computer engineering, those types of classes. Then for social studies, they require a year of American government, 1 semester of economics, and 1 year of American history, which was surprising. There's no requirements for world history. And they do require 2 semesters of what they call their art and language requirement. You can either do foreign language, you can do art, music, theater, and then they have a physical education semester. So, and of course your electives. So after I was able to determine what the public school required, which I again am not required to follow, I then looked at what the colleges in Idaho and surrounding areas are looking for, because my daughter has expressed multiple times that she does want to go to college. So I do want to make sure that I am setting her up for success. So some of the classes that colleges like to see on transcripts that were not included in the Idaho public school was, let me read them to you. 1 year of world history, which I was already planning on doing. 2 years of foreign language, which again, I was already planning on doing. She's going to be taking probably at college level classes in a dual enrollment program that Idaho has, because she's already on her 3rd year of French. My parents are both fluent. It's my dad's native language. So she's going to have a lot of background in that. They want finance, civics, psychology, and logic. So those were the things that stood out to me that weren't included in the requirements for high school and public schools. So then taking all of that information, I went and looked at what curriculum was available for high school now. Now, I do understand that my daughter is in 6th grade and that new curriculum will probably become available by the time she's in high school, but I really needed to have a plan in place so that I just knew which direction I was going in. So I wrote all of these down. So let's start with social studies. So for world history, I'm either going to be doing Build Your Library level 10 and 11 or Guest Hollow's Whirlwind World History. Now, which one I'm doing is really going to depend on if I'm doing world history at the beginning of high school versus the end. I feel like the textbook spine that Build Your Library uses is much more kid-friendly for those younger years because it's cartoon history, whereas the spine in textbook for Guest Hollow they created, but it seems very, I don't want to say dry, but a little more advanced. And that's definitely something I would utilize in the older years. And I may be starting part of her world history credit towards 8th grade. So if I do that, I feel like Build Your Library is probably more likely the route that I will go. Now, there is a chance that I may do Build Your Library level 10, which is the first half of world history. And then as she's a sophomore, go into Guest Hollow. It just depends, because both of those programs have so many plus and minuses, and I really do like them for different reasons. But I guess I'll cross that bridge when I get there. Another one potentially is Wonder House Creative. She creates wonderful curriculum, whether it's science, history, mental health. I really enjoy what she has to offer, and she really does have some great fun units for these world history times that I may bring in as well. Okay, American history. If I'm doing American history in 1 year, I'm going to be utilizing Bookshark, their high school level. If I'm doing it over 2 years, I'm going to do Guest Hollows Part 1 and Part 2, which is a 2-year American history curriculum. I really like a lot of the books and literature that she has tied into this program. I feel like it does a really good job and it goes really in depth. So if I can do it in 2 years, I will, and I will use Guest Hollow. If I can't, then I'll use Bookshark for the year. For my American government and econ requirement, I found a curriculum that actually covers American government, economics, finance, logic, and civics. And that is Guest Hollow's American Government and Economics curriculum. There is a homeschooler on YouTube that has been invaluable for this, the Impractical or Imperfect Homeschool. I'll put her name up here and I'll link her channel below. She has a wealth of information for homeschoolers, especially in the high school realm. She has really been invaluable, and she has done the program and considered it able to do a half credit for finance, logic, and civics, which really helps me out because those are all subjects that I do want to cover. And I will be doing that over 2 years per her advice. Okay, so let's talk about science. So for science, I do want to have it neutral or secular if I can help it. Wonderhouse Creative, again, she has neuroscience, microbiology, chemistry. She has a lot of great sciences. So I definitely will probably be utilizing her in some form. I will also potentially be using Bookshark's high school. They have a chemistry and a biology. And if I do build your library, I may utilize the science that she has for 10th and 11th. I think for year 10 is biology. I don't remember what Build Your Library 11 science is. I'll put that up somewhere. Maybe Guest Hollow, but I would have to really look through it and find which ones were more on the neutral side. Okay, so for math, I am looking at either Think Well, which we're currently in level 6, and that's going well, but I really do want to switch over to Denison. I would like math to be as independent as possible in these later years just because of where my strengths lie. And math and science maybe too that I do dual enrollment for her, as Idaho does do dual enrollment. I also think that the speech requirement, I will probably have her do as a dual enrollment just because I want her to be around other peers while she's doing speech. What other ones did I think and maybe potentially psychology. So essentially I am hoping to teach most of her high school. Again, the ones I just listed. Oh, in addition to French, I will like to have her do that at the college level in high school. However, my daughter will be 17 when she graduates. She'll be turning 18 within a few months, but she still will be pretty young. She still has a lot of time for college, but I don't want to hold her back. So really how many advanced dual credit classes that we do will really depend on her interest and where she's at that time. Now, again, like I said, there could be a lot of other curriculums that come up. Some other curriculum that I have considered is Beautiful Feet History. They do have a Modern America world history that is made for like 11th and 12th that I'm considering doing instead of part 2 of American history with Guest Hollow. They do have an ancient and medieval for high school as well. So those are just kind of what I have mapped out for the future. I do have a couple tentative plan options of the directions that I'm going. So after I figured out where I was heading in high school, I really had to think about what do I need to do in middle school to prepare for high school. And I'm actually going to put this in a separate video so this isn't too overwhelming. It'll be either 1 or 2 videos where I go over all the subjects, what I want to tackle for the last 2 years of middle school because I'm already in 6th grade and her curriculum's already figured out at this point. Again, I do wish I had done this before middle school, but that's okay. So I'm going to be making some videos on where I want to go in middle school based on what my daughter will be doing in high school. Okay, guys, if you have any questions, please let me know. If you have any other suggestions of curriculums for high school for me to take a look at, I would love any and all suggestions. If you guys have used any of the curriculum that I mentioned, I would love to hear what classes your homeschooler took. I really want to set my daughter up for the best success to move on to college. And so I really feel like planning ahead is just something that's really important as homeschoolers. All right, guys, I'll see you in my next video. Bye.